Good evening.
Well,
Welcome.
hello.
Hello. Welcome to this episode of Just Our Take by Nan and Dan. My name is Nancy Smith,
I'm Danny Ingves.
and tonight we're going to talk about women lifting women. Not physically, although some fun in that too.
Good luck trying lifting me. Good luck with that.
That's a good start.
It's a great topic. It's a great topic.
I think it is. I think it is, and it's really kind of relative. So I thought it'd be a good idea for us to do this and to keep pushing the notion that women should be lifting other women. It's a there is this whole notion there's healthy competition, and that's the key. But human nature is to be competitive, and we have to be positive with other women. That's our goal.
Agree. Agree. It's
So
a
let
it's
me.
a girl eat girl world.
Well,
Hey,
that's a little.
don't get your mind out of the gutter.
Well, we took this episode right
All right,
to
it
the
already went off the rails
commode.
already. Okay.
All right. Anyway, well, let's just get the disclaimer out of the way for everybody this evening. Let's just say this podcast is not meant to be used as professional or a medical guide, but rather entertainment and to share our experiences, realities, joys, and woes, and just fun stuff with each other and our take on it. So, good evening. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm fine.
Okay. Well, that's good. Good to hear.
That's all I'm gonna say because that's all
We're all
that we
done
covered.
here.
I'm okay. I'm better now. I'm better now. I got you on the other end there. We're good.
We're all good. That's exactly right. Okay. Well, that's good. Well,
So,
why don't you start us off?
all right,
Give me
it's
one.
time for what you drinking. What you got over there, Nan?
No, it's one of those tea tonic nights.
Tea tonic.
It's my tea tonic, my ginger, my turmeric, my cinnamon, my honey,
All right,
decaf.
no
Decaf.
alcohol in there. So
I'm
I
never.
have not decaf, but I went with my Eagles green cup because I've already wearing the gray and the black, so I'm just feeling my Earl Grey in my green cup.
Nice. Cheers. Cheers to that. Cheers.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Hopefully that caffeine will get me through the next hour.
Yeah, I'd be up all night with that one. So after messing up my circadian rhythm from last night, I got to get back
Yeah,
on track.
let's not do that. Yep,
Oh
yep,
my goodness. So let's
sure.
dive into the topic. What made us pick this topic? We did talk a little bit about this before, women lifting women. It's definitely relative, and I think it's human nature and natural for women to compete with other women. When you go back to our animal instinct, when we all started in basic existence in our animal behavior, women had to compete with other women to find the best mate. We had to find, when we were trying to keep the species going, we had to compete with the woman next to us to be sure that we were attractive and chosen to keep the species going. That's what it comes down to, human nature. And I think even now with us with women, competing with other women, it's kind of funny because when you think about it, women usually get dressed and dolled for other women to show other women how great they can look, which is kind of funny because we're doing it for our mate, but we actually do it to see what other women think of us.
Oh,
So,
so remember we had this conversation when we were out a couple of weeks ago, and we had this conversation, and I did think about it a lot after we talked about it because I didn't you say you dress to impress yourself, but also for other women? Isn't that what you
well,
said? I
you
know
know,
that I do because I know how I need to feel every day. I need to go into the world wherever it is, whatever I'm doing. So I do it for me first. But the more
mhm.
I thought about it, sure, I do it because it's how everybody else perceives you and how you're getting dressed. So if I get dressed for myself and I feel confident, I'm kind of doing it because I want a reaction from other people in that,
Mhm.
whether it's professional or it's or whatever it is, but just that confidence atmosphere. That I
Mhm.
want people to see me. I'm presenting myself that way. So do I
Mhm.
do a little bit for me, a little bit for other people? I mean, if we're being honest, that's
Mhm.
actually the truth.
Well, let me ask you, do you dress, let's take you out of it for a minute. Do
Okay.
you dress for women or do you want guys to notice you? I mean, obviously, you're attracted maybe sexually to men more so you'd want men to look at you. Or do you want to do it for the girls that you're going to see? I do it for both. I was just about to say I do it for men because I like to, that's my natural instinct. But at the end of the day, that's not true for me. I do it for both. So if
I
I'm going to go
actually,
out, yeah.
yeah.
I do it for
I think
both.
both.
Yeah.
If
And it
we're
depends on your
being
crowd.
honest.
Well, let's back up too. It depends on your crowd. If you're going to be around, now just realize this, if you're going to be around people that you're friends with that pay attention to those things, makeup, hair, jewelry, clothing, you tend to probably do that. At least that's how I do it.
Oh, for
If
sure.
you're around people that don't really see that
Right.
or draw attention to that, then it
Right.
probably wouldn't matter. You wear your sweatpants, your hair in a pony, who cares, you know? But I think it does matter your audience. Know your audience. Mm.
No, and that's funny because there was years where I would try to keep weaning off of lipstick and not wear lipstick because I am somebody who puts makeup on every day, I believe, as you are.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Oh,
and
definitely.
then I would put it on, and if there was a day like I'm going to try to wean off of lipstick, and if I went outside without lipstick on or any other color, people would ask me if I was sick all day, and I was like, well, now I'm kind of stuck, but
You feeling all right? Because your lips are really pale.
But COVID helped with that. I was actually able to do it over COVID. So now I can go one day with just gloss on or one day with a different lipstick and it's not it's different now, which
Well,
is funny.
you didn't need lipstick. See, the lipstick sales went down during COVID because everybody's wearing a mask.
Right, you
You
didn't
didn't
need
need
it.
to. You didn't
And
see my lips, so
and if
who
you wore
cares?
the lipstick because you're crazy with the mask, then that mask was ruined.
Wait, that's true. That's true. But you know what else? I think it's almost like people say they get addicted to chapstick because your lips feel dry. Same thing
Yeah,
with lipstick because I
yeah,
use a lot of balm or lip
me
balm
too.
as my base. So
Me
then
too.
without that you feel like. But I'm amazed at women. I'm genuinely amazed at women with women, and this is a compliment to women. I am really amazed with women who leave their house without any makeup on. They look fantastic. I can't say they don't look great. I am now I do it more now that I'm older than I used to. There was never a time that I ever, when my kids were younger, even, or when I
Hmm.
was first, I guess like my 20s and 30s, I always went out. I never went out without makeup. I'm
I
amazed
think
with
I
women who
always
never wear
did.
makeup. They're the women I admire.
Oh yeah. Oh
I mean, I know a couple women that I've worked with, super attractive, don't wear a stitch of makeup. I give them, are they more confident than me? Maybe. I like
yeah.
it.
And could we wean off it? There were funny because there's days where I used to be really heavy on the eyeliner, and I have my moments. And whenever I have less eyeliner, my one of my girls will be like, "Mom, your eyes look great today," and I'm like,
Hmm.
"It's because I'm wearing less makeup," or they hate the eyeliner. So it's just kind of funny. So it all depends. But I have to tell you a story about. I knew a girl when we would have sleepovers when we were teenagers. And we all kind of wore makeup, but we weren't all like addicted to it. We didn't have to have it, especially when we were all together. And there was this one girl that would always get up like an hour before us and go in the bathroom and put all her makeup on and everything and then get back in bed. It was girls. And we went to an all-girls high school too, by the
Competition.
way.
Oh, that's competitive. That
So
can be
she
in a
had to
competitive
wake up.
environment.
Yeah, so when she woke up, she felt the pressure from teenage girls, which I
Mhm.
don't remember us ever caring or thinking because we all look like hell. And we would wake up and she would be there and looking like perfection, her eyelashes and everything was done. I was like, well, that actually made me sad in that moment, as young as I was. Looking back now makes me even sadder, but at the moment I was like, oh, that's kind of crazy. But
Can you imagine how she would fare with social media today?
and it's
I
funny,
mean,
I don't know where
everything
she
is
is. I
out
haven't
there.
seen her on social media. I don't know where she's at. I'm
Hmm.
not even sure I can remember her last name, but I can picture her.
Hmm.
But I'd be curious to see where she's at, but I've never seen her on social media, so
Well, this is
it
really
would be
interesting
good.
because I mean, again, I compliment women that are confident enough not to wear makeup. And I often wonder, I'm
Okay.
like, do they not like makeup? Do they feel like it's burdensome? They don't need it. They don't appreciate it. I think it's pretty interesting. That's a real, by the way, that is like an episode unto itself.
It
Confident
sure
women,
is.
you know who I think of right away, someone famous, of course, Dolly Parton. You've seen Dolly Parton. I saw her on Howard
I love
Stern
her.
probably about a year ago. She's
Yeah.
78 or close to 80. Never has she gone out in public or even any day in her life without, and she admits this, without complete makeup, her wig, her hair, the whole thing. Never one day has she gone without it. Now that's like, is it, do you feel bad for her? Do you feel like she has to do too much? Or is she just that good at looking that good?
And she adds wigs to the whole thing too, so that's
Wigs,
a whole nother
always.
dynamic.
Yeah,
And yeah,
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, for me on a Saturday or Sunday, if we literally have nothing on the agenda and we're going to sit around and watch football all day, I
Hmm.
mean, I still get a shower every day. I'm one of those people. I don't get if I don't take a shower, I can't wake up. And then I may not put mascara on, or
Hmm.
I still do my skincare routine, but I may not put a drop of makeup
Hmm.
on, maybe just some lip gloss because I'm not leaving the house.
Yep.
So,
Yep. Yeah.
but I'm still
I
dressed. I'm still,
I've actually gotten to the point where I will leave the house without makeup, and something I would have never done. Never done at all. Like today, I went and picked up my mother first thing in the morning because I have to get started for work, so I have to pick her up. I do that. I didn't have any makeup on. And then and then when I get on a treadmill, I then shower after and redo my hair,
Mhm,
all
mhm.
that, it will fall into place. But I never used to do that. Never used to do
Yeah, I
that.
didn't either, but I will absolutely, Sunday nights I'm going to pick an L up and I will absolutely get in the car. And there was times where I wouldn't wear jogging pants out of the house. So there was a lot of things that I feel like which I still wouldn't, I would wear them to drive somewhere to pick my kid up. But I'm always like, what if I got in an accident? Not forbid, God forbid. And I
See
had to wait
that?
on the side of the road in Grace's Crocs and my jogging pants.
Well, I always say that, it's almost like make sure you wear clean underwear because you
It's
never know what's going
exactly
to
that.
happen.
But I think the older I got, the older I'm getting, the more I'm like, why have I not been wearing jogging pants my whole life? But I'm a jeans person. I'm comfortable in them. So it's just kind of funny. So here I am at 53, finally wearing jogging pants out of the house. Oh,
Right. I hear you. Well, I don't wear sneakers because I'm so short. I don't like to wear sneakers. I wear sneakers to walk, to
yeah.
work out. Obviously, if I go play tennis or pickleball or something like that, I'm wearing sneakers. Although my kids would joke and say I'd probably wear heels and that's been a joke too, that I'd
You'd
come
probably be
home from
better
work
in
and
heels running
I'd be,
around.
why not? I'd be
You're a
gardening in my
pro.
heels. I garden in
Not
my
me.
heels. I garden in my heels. And it's funny because even my kids have looked at those, like the Timberland boots. Hey, mom, look, their heels. They're like a wedge.
Hey, Crocs have heels now too. So
Oh dear.
I'll have
Well,
to send you a pair of Grace's. Yes,
yeah.
they're
Oh my
hideous.
gosh, I can't even imagine
They're
that.
hideous.
I just don't wear Crocs. I can't
Yeah,
wear
no, I
Crocs.
love my sneakers. I love my casual sneakers with my jeans and stuff,
I
but
always feel like I'm bouncing with sneakers. I always feel like I feel
right,
like
you need a little
I feel like
extra,
I'm like to
whatever
bounce.
that little bit is.
The rubber soles make me feel like I'm bouncing. True story, like I'm bebopping around.
That's so funny.
Oh my goodness. But anyway, so I think, that it's we didn't have the tortures that the young girls have today as far as social media
Oh, it's
and
way
being
worse.
out
Yeah.
there. I mean, we don't have that. We didn't have that. Although we do have the same thing now. There's a lot of competition on Facebook. There's a lot of competition, who
Yep.
can one up. Anyway, I affectionately call it in your Facebook.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
I do it
that's a
too.
good one.
I do it too. I mean, I'll be the first to say, well, I want to put it out there that my child has graduated or that they've accomplished something or that, it's a family get together. I do it too. I'm guilty.
That's not an in your face though. Being mom bragging, I feel like go brag all you want. If anybody wants to be proud of their kid, do it.
Okay.
Um,
But
I
that's
hold
women
back a
lifting
little bit.
women. You hear that?
What'd you say?
That's what that is, my friend. That's women lifting women. That's
Yes, I
because
think you should. If you're
you
proud of
do
what your
that.
kid did and they're graduating, you should absolutely be posting that. If you're going to post things that you will know that make other people feel bad, that's a
Hmm.
different post. Some people post
Hmm.
it just like I'm hanging out with this crowd tonight. I'm hanging out with that crowd tonight. That's a different type of post,
Yep.
which
No,
you and
that's
I do
true.
not document our lives on Facebook
No,
time. Occasionally
typically
here and there
no.
is fun, but it's not like,
Right.
oh, if you don't do it on Facebook or social media, we should stop saying Facebook because we should say social media because then we sound old, like we don't use anything else. And I know you use other ones.
I
Um,
do. Yes, I do.
but I think people feel like if they don't put it out there, it didn't happen. But
Well, yeah,
what
that's
happened to
true. That's
privacy?
true. That's true. That's true. They think, well, that's kind of funny. That's like, if a tree falls in the forest, does a tree really fall kind of thing. I mean, it's really true that you feel like you want to put it out there so everybody knows. Well, again, with women lifting women, this is another issue too. I have to say, with Facebook and social media, I have very distinct friends that always put a positive comment on something I post. I mean, I try not to put dribble on there, trying to put, hey, look at my chicken Caesar salad for lunch, everybody. I don't do that.
Sure,
But I mean,
sure.
I am amazed at certain people. And even though they may be going through their own troubles or their own issues, and not that they don't like themselves, because that may have something to do with it, but it's more the fact that they take the time to be positive with other people. I
Yeah.
love it. I love it. And I'm going to get into that. I have lost friends. I shouldn't say I've lost friends, but I have lost friendships with people where the friendship becomes a little less important to me when they don't show support on social media. Now, that's childish, and that should probably be in my no judge. Because really, do you want to say, but I think it's important because if you have the opportunity and you're posting something, whatever it may be, and this person has an opportunity to give you a like or love or a comment and they don't, and you know from your research that they've seen it, what do you do? Is it wrong? I mean, are they really a friend? I mean, that's debatable. Some people might not think so. Some people might think that's just utterly petty.
So I don't know that it's utterly petty. I think it depends on the person. And honestly, for me, at this point, I don't know. I really don't care. But when I look at my memories and my social media that comes up, I remember having when it first started and having every day like, oh, what could I post today? And I was like obsessed with it, like, oh, what could be
Mhm.
nice and interesting? And I was really trying. And then I was like, what the hell am I doing here? I am honestly can honestly say now I do scroll it. I keep my finger on the pulse, whether it's politics, what's going on in town, what other people saying, but not to and nothing on social media makes me feel bad anymore.
So let me understand this though. So
And I
let's
don't.
say that you posted something
Mhm.
and I didn't like it, but a mutual friend of ours posted something at the exact same time. And you know that I saw their post, so therefore I had to have seen yours. And I like theirs, but I don't like yours. And I do this more than once. But I'm always
Nancy, to
liking
be
theirs.
honest, I don't, I will go and look at comments because I'll get a notification that there's a comment
But
and I'll
that's
look
not
at
what
it.
that something won't bother you.
I don't even look and see who liked it and who didn't like it.
I think
I
that's
am
good.
not in my head saying, oh, Kathy didn't see that or Nancy didn't
Well,
see
no,
that.
but I'm saying like let's say you did see it. Wouldn't matter. That's good. That's good. Social media doesn't rule you. You don't let it rule you.
It did. It used to. I used
Okay.
to care what people think. But over the last, I would say definitely the last 6 years, I
Hmm.
have, I do not care. I post things because I want my husband's family who is in Connecticut to
Yes.
see it, and then my family, and you guys know what's going on because you and I, as much as we talk or see each other, I don't care if you like my post, if you acknowledge my post, but what I don't want my family to say or talk to, I didn't see anything. I don't know what you're talking about. Like I post on social media just because I don't have time to text everybody. I don't know what to
Right.
tell you, but I
Right.
honestly don't. I can honestly say I never look and
So
see who
you have a
liked
healthy
it or
relationship with social media. That's what it comes down to. And I think, and then when we
healthy
get into,
it.
and by the way, I think that is key. I think that is key with a lot of women, young women particularly, having a healthy relationship with social media because social media can be fictitious. It is not always the way it looks, and it's always like, the grass is always greener on the other side of the fence. Actually, it's greener where you water it. But I think people see social media and they think, this goes on with all ages, and especially young women. They see these, and men too. They see these people living such a fantastic life, and the reality is, you peel it back, and the camera's off, and your smile is gone. So I think it's a really good lesson. I really do. But I have to say, with women lifting other women, women liking other women, I think you have to like yourself as women.
Agree. Hmm.
And I mean, as competitive as we can be, I know that I can give you an example. When I was in my 20s, and this is actually when we first met, and we were in the mainline area. It's a very affluent area.
Hmm.
And I would be driving around in my mediocre car, whatever it was, what it was. And there would be women all dialed up, probably 20 years my senior, driving their high-end cars, looking fantastic. And at the time, I'm proud to say, I'd be like, man, that's awesome. Look at that woman go. That is fantastic. I haven't always felt like that. I mean, there are times in your life when you're just not feeling great about yourself, you're not liking yourself. It's hard to like others. So I think the real lesson is that you have to back up and say, okay, let me look at my positive attributes. Let me look at things I do like about myself and let me
Hmm.
focus on those.
Hmm.
Let me make those the priority because otherwise you're going to be competing with people. I'm never going to, there's always somebody prettier. There's always somebody richer. There's always somebody smarter. That is what life is going to be. But if you like what you have, you can like other people, particularly other women, and you can lift those women up, and I think there are a lot of ways to do it. There's a lot of ways to do it, but you have to find the things, and this is a lesson I think really for young girls, and I think even for older girls. But I think for young girls, if you're finding things that you like about yourself, whatever it is, maybe you cook well, you're smart, maybe you exercise well, you're very organized. I don't know, whatever it is, but you have to find it and like it.
Right.
And
And
this
when you
whole
go
thing,
back to the whole, if you go back to the whole, when you're not feeling in a good place, you may see another woman and look at her and go like, ugh, she's annoying because maybe she had herself
she's
put together.
happy. It's
And
great.
so there was a time where I would look at women like that. And then as the years pass, you start looking at them like, okay, she was something like, and I don't know what that something was the glasses, the attitude, whatever. And I would start like when they would walk away from a thing, like, what was so cool about her? And like, oh, like I know I'm not that cool, whether it's a tattoo or this or that. Like,
Right.
well, how can I? And so I would take that stuff. I've learned to take that stuff and try to figure out what can I use? What did she just have that
Yep.
I could maybe
Yep.
learn from? So
I do too.
I would call myself a lifelong student. And I'm always
Mm-hmm.
trying to, how can I better myself? I love self-help stuff. I love TED
Mm-hmm.
Talks. I love all that. What can I do to change me? You can't change someone else. So your perception of, so instead of looking at them that you hate them and trying to go back to the social media thing again, I am not perfect with any of this. I'm getting better. I just want to just add that I do click on those all the time. I do check
Mm-hmm.
them every chance I get, but I don't take anything that I post to heart. I just wanted to make clear that
Mm-hmm.
I'm nowhere near in a healthy relationship with social media. I'm just healthy about what I post and how people
Mm-hmm.
react to my stuff.
I
But
get
I
you.
do believe in the positive thought, but you do
Mm-hmm.
need to like yourself. You have to be confident in
Yeah,
yourself
you
or
do.
it'll eat you
Eat you up.
alive.
It will. And I think that's with anything. I don't think it's just social media, but that again goes back to human nature. With you can only you have to do what you can do. We go through phases in our life where we're not happy. That's okay. That's
Yeah,
okay. But I think the goal should be to find something that you do like about yourself that'll help you like other women and help you lift
I
other women.
agree.
I wonder
Yeah.
if men, and this is not all men, but is it like animalistic or human nature for men to think women should compete with other women? Or do men want women to be close and friendly and like each other? They like cat fights.
You know, do they like cat fights?
Some do.
Probably, either all their fantasies are, two women at one time. Do they want the two women cat fighting over them too? I don't know. I would like to think that a nice, reasonable, like confident man, like your husband, like my husband, like the good men in our lives, wouldn't want that. So two thoughts on how men would look at it. One is if women have other women friends that are healthy relationships that can go shopping and do these other things that men don't necessarily want to do with a woman,
Right.
um, why that would work. Then you could stay home and watch sports. This is not my house, by the way, because I don't want to go shopping. I want to stay home and watch sports.
I
But
hate I
but
hate to shop. Pete likes to shop. I hate to shop. I'll
I'm not
buy.
I
I
like to
don't shop.
yeah, I don't love it,
Ugh.
but I think that a man would want that. So that would be the nice mature man that would say, "No, I love that my wife or my girlfriend or whatever has good relationships, the healthy relationships." To think that to want a woman to be fighting with other women and have all that. So what? You're trying to watch football. Now she's in your ear because her friend said this about her and this drama and this drama. I don't like to hear myself say that drama, which I know I've been there. So it would be in their best interest. So if we're just talking about relationships just from that standpoint, but early on, the competing, does a young 20-year-old want women competing against for
Yeah.
him?
I
Probably. So
don't know.
I don't know.
I
We
don't
have to
know.
get on to ask them their opinion. We shouldn't speak for
Mhm.
them because we wouldn't want them to speak for us.
I got you.
But
I
I
got
want
you.
all relationships to be healthy. Like,
Well, absolutely. We want to. Well, so I think that once we've gotten to the point where we like ourselves and we like women and we lift women, we also have come to a lot of conclusion. I mean, I can say that I have at my point in my age that I've tried to surround myself with illuminators rather than diminishers.
I
And
like
this goes
that.
hand in hand with a positive woman. I mean,
Hmm.
I've been around a lot of women, been around a lot of group of friends, and I have to say, when I first was married, when Pete and I were married, I was married at 27. I did not have a tremendous amount of friends. I was probably a little bit more of a loner growing up anyway, but I didn't have a tremendous amount of friends. And Pete and I were rather close and did a lot together. So when I got married, I had a few girls in my wedding. In fact, one was my sister-in-law, one was a friend I had from high school, another was a woman that I worked with, and it was wonderful. That was now, if I look at it today, I would probably be able to have 15 very close friends as bridesmaids, which I think is interesting as I've grown and become more confident. And I'm going to get into my no judge because that's going to say a lot about me
Okay.
anyway.
Yeah.
But not yet. But I will say that I have decided and just started in my 50s that I will only be around people who are illuminators. You're not always going to be in a great mood. It has nothing to do with the mood. Everybody has bad moods, bad days. There's a difference between an illuminator and a diminisher, a very big difference. We all know it. like the fountains and the drains.
Hmm.
And I found myself around people where I just was like, I just felt like, my gosh, why do I feel not that they have to give me compliments or, constantly lift me up, but to make me feel bad all the time. I was like, no, something is not right. And I'm sure a lot of people are in those relationships when they're in, even with couples relationships, there are people that are
Hmm.
just, you're not on the same page anymore. Or you
No.
just don't, or they just bring you down and you don't even realize it. I've spoken to friends of late and they're like, I'm around these people and I didn't realize it. I've been with them for years and I'm just not happy around them. So
Hmm.
should you stay friends with them? I don't think so. I don't think so. I think you have to gracefully let it go. I think you have to acknowledge that you're on different pages. Maybe not say you're right and they're wrong, but you have to back away from it sometimes. And it's the same idea with lifting, women lifting women. If you have another woman friend that is continually beating you down or pointing at your negatives, there's something not right with that. There's something
Agree.
not right with that.
Yeah.
And I've had friends like that. I've had
Hmm.
friends like that. And I've had other friends, much like yourself, who we have, I think, admiration for each other. And I think that, there's
Sure.
not always, you're not always going to be on the same page. You're not always going to agree. You may have an argument. There's a difference. I mean, you have to be able to be positive with each other. And that's what decision you make as we get older and wiser. That's the decision I think we should make.
And I'm with you 150%. I had that situation a couple of years ago. These friends that I was spending
I
all this
remember.
time with, and what we had in common was our children, and it was great. And I actually, boy, we had some laughs. I've camped with these people. We laughed. I really enjoyed them. But there were times where I had to be careful with everything I said.
Hmm.
Um, it was okay if they said whatever they wanted, but I never felt like I could always say whatever I wanted. But
Hmm.
regardless, I loved them and I thought we would be
Hmm.
friends for a very long time. Even though I knew most of our children, some relationships I didn't expect to go the way they did, but I expected our children would all go different ways. Because they were all connected at one point, then the children kind of went their own way, and we were still together. And we had this feed, and we had a lot of laughs on a lot of times.
That's great.
But the fact that I couldn't speak freely, I felt like I could never brag about my children in the group.
Yeah.
Um, our
And
kids
what's
were
wrong with
all,
that? I mean, what is wrong with being able to turn to
I mean,
somebody and say, now there's a difference between in your face constantly, hey,
and I would
my
never
kid
do
is this,
that.
my
Yeah,
kid's better than, but some people do. Some people do.
right.
But sometimes you want somebody to hear. Somebody want somebody to listen. Like, I want to hear what Grace has
Like
done. I
yeah,
want to
I
hear what Ella.
just want to
I
tell you.
went to see Ella Model because I think she's amazing, and I want to hear it and I want to see it. These are the things that a friend does. These are the
I
things that
agree.
an illuminator does. They're going to
Yep.
stop and say, I want to hear about you. First of all, let's back up too. A friend that listens. I've had about 5 friends in my life that truly listen. I've had people where they'll call me on the line and I can't even name names, but they'll give me a call, even family, and I will sit there for 30 minutes and listen. And at the very end of the conversation, talk to you later, goodbye. Not, hey, how are you? What's going on with you? Anybody who's really curious about you, that is to me is someone who cares about you. If they take a moment to ask questions and say, hey, how was your day? How's your job? Like you may say to me, oh, I'm looking for this. I'm hoping to do that with my career or whatever. Hey, let me know how that's going. I care.
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
had a few friends that do that. You're one of them. And I think it's important as women to stop and listen. Some women don't really care. Like I'm gonna even talk about this podcast. My husband keeps saying, why don't you share it with people? And we will. And there have been people that I've told about it and have really surprised me who want to hear it, who want to see what we have to say, want to see it. I've had other people even watch it and love it. I have other people that I mentioned it to and they glaze over like I've never said a word about it and it doesn't matter to them. Do I think they should go, cheer and, bravo? No, but it's
Right.
interesting. It says a lot. It
Yeah.
says a lot. It says a lot to people that ask
Yeah.
questions.
I mean, if you are genuine, it's listen, we can't ever get everything in. We're away for a weekend and I still walk away going, I don't think we finished that
Forgot to
subject.
mention this.
This will always be the theme
Good thing
for
we
as
have
long
time to
as we do
talk.
these podcasts that
That's
we
why we're
still didn't
doing
finish
this.
that. Um, but yeah, no, and when you can't tell somebody, like I want to tell you, and your kids may not all be on the same, I don't want to use the word spectrum, but you know what I mean, like education wise or whatever.
Yeah,
Something, school was
or
very easy
age
for
and
my
points in
children,
life.
but I
Hmm.
wasn't coming into the group to tell you that my kids had all A's or anything like that. It was just like, hey, she got this part or that. So that always bugged me, but I just tucked it down because I loved these people more than that, and I
Okay,
didn't care, and I loved
that's
the
fair.
women. Huh?
That's fair.
I
That's
can
fair.
honestly say I loved each and every one of their children and always um was one of their biggest fans for all of them. Didn't matter whatever they were doing, whatever sport they were doing, we've gone to see their sports, even though my kids aren't playing. So I really felt that. But I will say in that one year where I was having the toughest year of my life. You know, we're coming out of COVID. Grace is auditioning. We had to keep her healthy. We weren't trying to be crazy. All these different things. There were so many different things that were piled up that year. We were having construction. I was studying for a state exam. You name it. It was all going on. I had just lost my mother. Um, and the answer was I wasn't telling them every detail about everything.
I
So
remember you
you
telling me
wouldn't let
this.
me tell you
Yes.
the good stuff, but now the bad stuff, you want me to detail it
Yes.
every
Isn't,
single day.
by the way, you just really hit it on the head. When
It's
you
crazy.
say they didn't want to hear the good stuff, they wanted to hear the bad stuff. What is that? Like, what is that? I mean, I think let's be real, human nature. Everybody can't take their eyes off the train wreck because the negative stuff, it's just easier to spread negative, I think sometimes. Sometimes it is. Let's just call it what it is.
Yeah.
But a true friend wants to hear the good with the bad, you
Right.
know?
There's got to
Yeah.
be a balance.
Yeah.
They knew I had stuff going on. Um, the last thing I want to do is create drama. Like I don't want it to be all about me. I am not a all about me every day. What am I going to every day tell you every terrible thing that's going on? And then you're
No,
mad when we,
I don't want to dwell
we
on
all
that.
come drink in the basement and risk getting COVID. It wasn't that I was afraid of COVID. At this point, we've had the vaccines and stuff. At this
Mhm.
point, I just couldn't risk Grace's voice. It was her instrument. And
Yeah.
if we got sick, who would know? Ella's still
Yep.
coughing from COVID in July.
Yep.
So, so yeah. So anyway, so my children would say things to me like, because they really didn't care. They got rid of friendships that were not healthy for them quicker
Hmm.
than I ever could. And when you have teenage girls telling you that these people are no good for you, Mom, they're making you feel bad. They're making you miserable.
Yes.
You're so upset
Yes.
about this.
Yep.
What are you doing? And I was
They
like,
can see it.
oh
And
my
again,
God,
then you go back to the whole children see what we do more than
right.
anything. And when they saw that, and good for your girls to tell you, Mom, this is
I
right.
I give them a lot of credit. They don't care what other people think. They I don't know. So I want to take a little credit for that, but I was not that person. And actually every once in a while, I'm going to say full disclosure, every once in a while. So I do chat with a couple of them from time to time through text or I'll see them. One I'm still good friends with. Um the other ones I don't see, but I resist the urge every once in a while to actually call them. I miss them. And I would love to say,
Well,
"Hey,
why
what's
don't
going
you call?
on?"
Because it's not going to be a positive outcome.
Open the door. And when things ended badly, they all reached out to me separately and was like, "Oh, I had no idea." And we talked through. I'm like, "Okay." So and we both said everything everybody said separately in a text.
Hmm.
We all got it all out. And
Hmm.
each one of them ended like, "Well, when you're ready to sit down and talk about it." So wait, it's been 2 years of stress for me. And now I have to sit down with each one of you individually to discuss this? When we were all together in a feed before where we could have all talked about it before,
Are they all friends without you?
I have no idea. I have no idea. The one person I stay really close in touch with, and the other ones I kind of see. There's only one that I haven't seen since.
Hmm.
Um, I I have no idea if they all still hang out. Honestly, I don't care. I know that I
Right.
was a lot of the glue that held them all together because they were all different, and I brought them all together. But I have no idea, and I
That's
honestly don't care.
interesting.
I can say that I'm honestly over it, but I do care about them still. And even a
Well,
couple
that's
weeks ago,
because because you were the positive person and it
I
matters to
am.
you. And you
I'm a
want to
positive
say things like
football.
that. Yeah, and you are. You really are. And that's key. So I wanted to bring up something kind of interesting that when I was doing when we were researching for for this show, I looked on Google and I did see a really interesting thing that Blake Lively had posted something in reference to women lifting women. Women are really going to bat for other women now. And I think that's the key that those days of stepping on other women to get where you're going are long gone or should be long gone. So it was interesting to hear her post. So she put a post on Instagram, and it was actually just this year, and she was saying, and I'll just paraphrase some of it because I found it rather interesting.
Okay.
Obviously, you know who she is. She's an actress,
Mhm.
and she's been in quite a few different things. I
Pretty
just recently
gorgeous.
saw her in that great movie, which is Ends with Us. Did you see that? It Ends with Us.
Mm-mm.
It's a
It's on my
Colleen
list.
Hoover book. It's a good
Yeah.
book, and it's funny because Pete and I watched it together, and he truly enjoyed it. It's a really, really good story, and it's well done. And Blake Lively's wonderful in it. And of course, you see her all the time now because she's with Taylor Swift. So it was interesting how she said, "When I grew up, women were always pitted against one another. It took me until adulthood to see that the instinct for women to lift each other up to their highest potential is the norm, not the exception. Most of my best friends are women." Who wouldn't would have been packaged, or I guess packaged to me or pitted against me and as threats of competition. Admittedly, the best friends we're talking about, such as Taylor Swift, with whom would have forgiven for feeling, she would never have wanted her to feel threatened by her. Of course, she said there's plenty of room for both of us and many of us. Neithers have to be threatened by my pop stardom. There's space for all of us. And
I
that's
love
how it
that.
is with normal. Yeah,
Mhm.
I think it's excellent. It was good to read that. I thought that was kind of cool. And I think that a lot of women, that's a good lesson. It's a good lesson that we're there to support each
Well,
other.
I
And
found this quote. I keep it on my phone. It's one of these things. Um, and it's funny when we came up with this topic, I'm like, I know I have this on my phone because I look at it all the time. And I think it was just something I saw on one of the social media sites. And you don't always see positive stuff, but I try to subscribe to the positive stuff.
that's true.
It says, women need other women in their lives who think they are amazing. No competition, no jealousy, no hate, only I love you. I'm here for you. I believe in you. You got this kind of energy. And so I do
Love
look
it.
at that from time to time, and I feel
Love it.
that. I
Love it.
definitely feel like you're one of those friends.
I try.
My girlfriend Kathy, we've been friends longer than I've been with my husband, and I feel like she's one
Love
of
it.
them.
I
I'm
love it.
trying to think of any other long-term friends like that I can truly just say anything to and be accepted.
I think that's great. I think
I
that's
mean,
great.
Kathy will
I
call
have
me
a
out of my
handful.
shit so fast.
Well, you know,
She's
it's funny because let me ask you this, and then Kathy probably already does this as well. I mean, do you have friends that ask you questions about what you're doing, what's going on in your life? I have a few friends that
uh,
do that. I have a few
Kathy
friends.
and you and I mean, I have three really good friends at work,
That's
um,
great.
that I almost can tell them anything. One I hang out with more outside of work. One, not so much, but I do feel like these are people I can
How
say
about your
anything to.
sisters? See, you have sisters.
Well,
I
my
didn't.
sister, so that, I mean, that's just a given. Yeah,
Yes, that's
absolutely. And
great. You
now
see, you're lucky you grew up with that.
I
That's
did
good.
grow up with that. And honestly, I should have said them, but I take them for granted.
Yes,
Um,
they're
because they
built
have been
in.
my
It's
lifelong
a
best
built
friends.
in.
Yeah,
It's a
for
built in
sure.
best friend.
For sure. I could call them any minute and they would listen and they would talk. And if I cried, they'll cry. Yeah, that's
That's
unconditional. So,
great.
so they're a given. But I was talking to people that I'm not related to, but my Aunt Kathy's the same way. Like we're
That's
all super
great.
close. But yeah, I have a handful and I'm at the point in my life where I don't want 20.
Yeah.
I want
Well, it's
just
really funny because I think I joke around. I have a group of friends now that I really only in my later years, probably the last like 7 to 8 years. And I've explained to them a few things in my past and my history and with my mom and things I've gone through. It's crazy. And I'm sure everybody has a crazy background, and that's for sure. And it's been interesting to me the last few times that we talked about things that they were asking questions and actually interested. And I'm a really rather private person, I think. And I think there are things I wouldn't share, but they're so eager to listen and give support. They're a great group of friends. I mean, I never knew friends could be that great. I've
yeah.
had a few friends, honestly, that sounds ridiculous, but especially that group of friends, because I've had other friends, and I think maybe too, it's partly my fault. You know, people can be supportive to you if they know what's going on. A lot of times I hold my cards close to my chest. So if I'm
True.
not sharing
True.
something, how can you be supportive to me if you don't know? I mean,
And I
that's
think friends that we choose when our kids were little too, the ones that you're in the thick of it with, we talked about before, and that's what these friends were. But I do truly think that they were my friends, and then maybe people that you hung out with when the kids were little. I think that those relationships continue, but you do things out of, I think they're survivor skills. Um,
oh, that may be true.
we all have
I
little kids together.
Yes. Well, I will tell you also because for me, you know, and this is a whole episode unto itself, and we'll definitely have to do this in the future because it's kind of funny. There's a lot of really great stories with my mother. Um, my mother is paranoid schizophrenic. I mean, in for all intents and purposes, that's what she is. She used to say to me, "The people on the radio are talking to me. I work for the Vatican. I work for Secret Service." I mean, they're really funny
Yeah,
stories.
yeah.
I mean, I a lot of funny stories. But as a child, as a young girl in high school, I was very guarded. I just did not have people around me because I felt it was out to get me. My mother had led me to believe that they were out to get me or that they were not in my corner and everybody was just a so that her psychosis bled into my life and
Sure, you protected
and
yourself. Yeah.
you put a wall around
Mm-hmm.
yourself with that kind of
Mm-hmm.
constant talk. And yet my mother made me feel loved. It's so kind of odd. You felt very loved. But at the same time, the world was out to get you and you didn't, there's a lot there to unpack. There's a
Yeah,
lot there to
for
unpack. And
sure.
I think that'd be a great episode, be a good
So I
laugh.
think you have a lot of funny stories about your mother, because you
Woo!
found a way to deal with it. Funny, not funny, all at the same
Funny, not
time.
funny.
With what
Funny, not
she's
funny.
dealing with. Yeah, yeah,
Let's
yeah.
sit. Well, on that note, let's take a minute and breathe. Let's do our breathe segment because I could really use a breath right now. Getting a little worked up. Let's just do a
Okay.
couple
All right.
breaths.
All right.
Okay. All righty. We're going to do our breathe in for 4, hold for 4, expel for 4, and start again at 4. Let's do 3. You ready?
All right.
Oh my goodness. My shoulders are dropping. I'm
I'm really
breathing.
not a good breather.
Neither am I.
I
I'm
mean,
really
sitting still, thinking about my breathing, breathing out my mouth.
breathe out, expel. I do Pilates, and I'm telling you, if you should see me, it's harder to do the breathing than the Pilates moves.
I believe it. I,
Holding it, and I'm in the meantime doing all these crazy moves, rolling over a big ball. Nuts.
don't
I can't breathe.
forget to breathe.
Anyway, well, I thought we could get into our no judge. Well, before we get to no judge, let's do a quick flash topic. And
Okay.
this topic, we really are not going to pay it homage. I think we're going to have to do a whole episode on this too. And we discussed whether we were going to talk about this on the episode. And, in lieu of our political times, we're not going to talk politics per se. But the question I have, and I think we posed this on our last episode, was is the United States ready, or would they ever, or in recent times, vote in a female president? Now,
Well,
let's take
my
the D and take the R out of
yes.
it. It
Here's
is
what
not.
I'm gonna say. Men had their chance. They're making a mess of everything. Uh, it's our turn.
Yes.
So,
No,
are
you
we
can look at it.
ready? Yes. I do think there's a lot of contributing factors on why it didn't happen twice now.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
I think that we're ready. We missed it by,
Okay.
had this woman had more time, I think we
You
would
think
have.
we would have had a woman, regardless if she's a Democrat or Republican? Let's take that out of it.
And
Let's take her.
I
Let's
will
take her
take
policy
either.
out of it. Let's
I'd
take
like to see
all of
what a
it.
woman could do.
Okay, so
Bring it
let's
on.
let's I mean when you look at other countries, Mexico, Italy, Germany, Angela Merkel, you have England, Margaret
Yeah,
Thatcher. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
all these great countries have
What
had
was the other one?
women
Netherlands? Wasn't it the
president.
Netherlands?
Maybe so. I think it is the Netherlands
Yeah, but I think she just recently
in a
resigned. But
Slavic country, and obviously you have in England you have the Queen, you had the Queen of
mhm.
England, but I'm just saying, is the United States in our population ready to vote for a woman? I mean, I don't know. I mean, would women vote for another woman? Maybe not just on that factor. Are they going to vote on the right person? Maybe. And maybe, people just feel like this hasn't been the right person, not the fact that they're a woman. So it's interesting if our society is just not there. I don't know.
I don't know. I think we're really, really close, and I'm really disappointed in this country that we're not there yet. But
Mhm.
as someone, well, I think we're all kind of living in a
I'm gonna
man's
come.
world.
I'm gonna come from your perspective that, or different, maybe close to it, but saying if the right woman is put in that place, she'd be voted in. Let's just leave it at that. And maybe people just didn't feel that the last choice was the right person, or the one before wasn't the right person. I don't know.
So, and without getting into it all specifically, I do think that if so, the person who just got voted in and who was
Hmm.
president before, it's
Hmm.
not our typical regular politics. I don't know if they're the right words I want to use there. I have other words, but they're not the traditional is the what I want. Our traditional
Hmm.
politics, what we're used to, the stuff that we took
Hmm.
for granted. I do
Hmm.
think if this person wasn't in the mix right now, I think
Mhm.
we could have already been there.
Okay.
Just because it would have been about the qualified person, not about the um, outfit,
Personality.
that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
I think we're
Okay.
super close, and we need that one woman to be voted in to show
Mhm.
what she can do. And I hope she doesn't let us down. And it's not
Well,
a
you
like,
know
oh, that
something?
woman's gonna let us
Oh,
down, but
this just
then
came. This just came to me, and I don't want to cut you off. I don't want to
it's
forget.
okay.
So, have you ever heard of Mr. Wonderful? You watch Shark Tank?
Yeah,
Kevin
yeah,
O'Leary, I believe his name
yeah,
is. He's a
yes,
billionaire.
yes. I
So I
follow
don't
him on
watch
social
Shark.
media.
I don't watch Shark Tank as much as most do. It's really entertaining, and
Oh
I
yeah, I
think that's
watched
something I
it.
could sit and
Yeah.
binge. So he was on a show the other day. I want to say it was Morning Brew, the podcast, which I absolutely love. And they were interviewing him, and he hires, and actually 75%, I want to say 75% companies that he's invested in have been women, quote unquote, CEOs, because he feels the way women do things are that they're very effective. So I have
Interesting.
to check out the quote from him. And it was very interesting to see him say, and for him to clearly state women, he's very prone to back women because he feels that they have very good business, that very good business
Interesting.
sense, and they have, they have a get it done approach. So I thought that was really interesting. I was very
And
impressed with
women
that.
are amazing at
Multitasking,
multitasking.
follow
We
up skills,
be
communication skills, understanding,
empathetic and showing it,
listening skills.
listening. Um,
I like this.
are we
This
perfect?
discussion.
No. And neither are men. And I think there's amazing men leaders. We're
Sure,
never about men
sure.
bashing. You
Well,
and I
I we
that.
also let's get rid of that emotional stigma. Let's
Mhm.
get rid of this women are too emotional to
Oh,
run
absolutely.
a company or something. Get rid of that.
Get rid of it because think about what we do with what we have to deal with our bodies from what 10, 11, 12, 13, whatever age
That
that nonsense starts.
that yeah.
Still
But
dealing
but
at
but
this
even
age,
still, but
how
even
tough are
still,
we?
we're very tough. We do it all. And so men are fantastic. We would be nowhere without. We work together very
Agree.
well. But I will
Agree.
say the emotional part, we put that aside every day. You
Yeah,
have to function, you know?
for sure. But
Pretty
listen,
interesting.
men and women, and I'm trying to think, oh, somebody was just asking the Kelsey brothers about their emotion, asking Jason Kelsey about in an interview about him showing his emotion. He had said, like, that's just how
He's
we
very
will
emotional.
we
He
could do
cries all
it.
the
And he
time.
said, sometimes I should probably not cry as much. Um,
I think I
but that
saw
he
that.
wasn't embarrassed that
My
he
boyfriend.
cries.
Well, speaking of that, I have not
We
listened
all
to
should.
Kylie Kelsey's podcast yet. I can't wait to hear it Not
It was
Gonna Lie.
tomorrow, right?
It's on Thursdays. Maybe she already had one drop, no?
I thought it said December 5th.
Oh, I'm
Well,
excited for her. I
when we're
can't wait
going
to
to
hear
talk
it.
about, because I actually was thinking about this before we logged on, and we're talking about women uplifting women. When Kylie Kelsey put out that she's going to have a podcast, I'm like, are you kidding me? We just started our own. I don't want to compete with her, but I'm super, but I don't want to compete with her, but I'm super excited to hear what she has to say. I love she's coming
we're
at
we're not going to compete
that
with
word
her.
around her.
We're
What'd you say?
not going to compete with her. She may have a little more people watching and paying
Oh,
attention.
she's probably already got sponsors. We're not
Listen,
going to.
she already has Jason. So forget it for me.
Right. No, but I'm super excited for her. I really want to listen to it. And this is somebody who's about to do what we're already doing, and she's going to do it better, and she's got everything. But
Yeah,
so there's yes, am I
you need it.
jealous? Can I be jealous for a woman and yet
And
be
still
super happy for her at the same
and
time?
still lift her up.
Absolutely. If I'm
Yes, you
jealous,
can.
I will tell you every single day that I'm jealous of whatever it is you're doing. I do that on a lot of social media posts. Like I see somebody like seeing a show that I didn't get a chance to see, like, oh, I'm so jelly, like all the time.
I
But
do
I'm
too.
happy for
I
you.
do too. But
Yeah.
yet at the same time, it's okay. It's okay. Good for them.
I'm
You
happy
gotta
for you.
rah
Tell me
rah.
how it was. Yeah. I'm
Well,
just sad I'm not with you.
man, I didn't do it. Yeah,
Right.
that's true.
Yeah.
Well, let's
So
get
it's
into our no judge.
all right. You want to go
You want to?
first?
Well, I
I'm
usually go first. Why don't you go first tonight?
all right. So my no
Mine's
judge.
rather benign.
Okay, so I'm gonna tell you. So this is two things. This is women and this is social media. So when I was working at a place a long time ago, there was this woman that worked with me. Now, I've known her since we were children. I didn't know her real well. She lived across the street, but she went to a different grade school and a different high school. But maybe same high school. Anyway, She was beautiful. Beautiful. This big, always dressed to perfection. We would all carpool together. There was four of us that would carpool together. We all drove together, and they were building the convention center at the time in Center City, right there at 11th and Arch. And every time we would go from the car, and I would think I looked nice every day, and we would be going from the car to work, and all the construction workers were doing their cat calls. They clearly weren't at whatever I was looking at. She looked amazing every day. So I felt the jealousy building up. And over the years, but we still did it. And I still considered her a friend. We weren't super close, but we were friendly. Drove together, did that kind of stuff. And then one day I got caught talking about her at work. Forget what I said. And even if I could remember, I probably wouldn't said it. It was just catty. It was not nice.
Oh,
And I felt icky. Not too long after that. So we didn't talk. And
so she was mad at you for it.
I didn't know she was in the cubicle that she was in. She was in someone
Ooh.
else's cubicle. And I said,
Oh,
and it was just, I can't even remember.
jealous. We're
I
all
just remember to
jealous.
this day when I think about it, how bad I felt when she got up and walked out of the cubicle and looked me right in the face and walked away.
Ah,
And we never
it
spoke again.
happens.
Either I left the board first or she left or whatever. So I just said where I work. So that's great. Um, Years go by. I don't see her. Now social media comes out. I've forgotten all about this. So now it's like 2009, maybe I joined Facebook. She's one of the first people that befriend me on Facebook. And I was like, I didn't
Well,
even
listen.
understand private messaging
So
versus
she rose above.
she did. So I didn't even understand private messaging versus how to do it on someone's page. So I
Oh,
right away I went on and I did a full apology. The last
oh
time
no.
I said something terrible, I didn't put what I said, but just did a full apology for the world to see. And
Was it on her page? Was on her. It was on her
it
feed.
was right on her page. So I get a call from my girlfriend Kathy, and she says, did you mean to put that on her page?" I'm like, what are you talking about?" I didn't know. I went, "You know what? It's fine. I was wrong and I was catty,
You could
so I
delete
didn't
it.
care. I ate
Okay.
it. I ate it."
Okay.
And she
Okay.
she
You own
accepted
it.
my apology,
Love
and
it.
we have been on social media. We have been
Following each other's
back
lives
and
from a
forth and
distance.
happy for you, happy for you.
Nice.
And
Good
I
for
still
you.
feel bad about doing that, but I'm glad that I put that apology out there,
Yeah.
and I'm glad I
I'm
didn't
not
send
judging
it
you for doing that.
privately.
I'm not judging you for doing that. You put
But
it out there, and you know what? You didn't take it down. You left it there. Good for
and so
you.
I've never made that mistake again. That made me feel terrible because what I said wasn't nice. I was just completely jealous of this person because she was beautiful.
There. Oh my
So
gosh, I've grown up with people like that.
so
I knew that, and I still see one of the girls I went to grade school with. I was friends with her too. Nice girl, and she was always so pretty. She always had the beautiful face, skin, hair. Everybody liked her, and she was beautiful, and she had a family life, and she had everything going well. You know, my family was quite disheveled. You know, we were quite the mess, but she always looked fantastic. And now she's on Facebook, and she had gotten I think she had gotten married young or had children young at 25, had twins, and they were just I don't think she was married, had two little girls. And then she got married again and had another boy and a girl. She has four children. They're beautiful. I see now on Facebook she still looks gorgeous, fantastic. You know, I always say, oh, well, maybe she should slender up my little jealous side, but she looks great. She looks
she's probably leaving
great.
the house without makeup.
Yeah, witch. No, but she looks fantastic. And I see
Oh,
it
that's
now
great.
and I remember for years just wishing, oh, I wish I had her hair and I wish I looked like her. It's all good. It's all good.
It's
Now
all
I see
good.
her and I literally love everything on Facebook. She has a granddaughter and the baby is adorable. Have at it. Have at it. Well, let
Just
me
have
get
to
to
be
my no
comfortable in our
judge.
own skin. Yep.
And
Okay.
this is maybe you know this or not, but I speaking of women lifting women, I never really liked being friends with girls. Didn't like it.
I don't think I knew that.
Um, I didn't. I didn't. I always preferred, and I had a few close girlfriends, but here's an example. So I'm in college, and I kind of, but don't forget, I also felt the world was out to get me,
Well,
and
okay.
I had my backup. And as friendly as was with people, I never let them behind, through the wall. They were just not getting through the wall, and mostly women probably. And I don't know really why that is, but I was never friends with girls, and I didn't like being friends with girls. I found that girls at the time, now I don't think this way now, but at the time, even through high school and in my early 20s, I just felt like girls were just too petty and they were too catty. And I'm very matter of fact, as emotional as I can be. I kind of think I'm boyish. In fact, it's kind of funny. One of the doctors that I work with said to me several years back, he goes, you think like a guy.
My husband tells me that all the time. That's why we
What do
get
you think of that?
along.
Kind of maybe
We
that's why
put
we get
on this,
along.
wait, we put on this pretty exterior, well,
I got the
whatever this
lips
is,
and the eyelashes, but I'm a dude.
but really we're dudes underneath.
We're dudes under it all. So I mean, it's really true. And this guy's a really bright guy. He's one of my favorite people now. He's one of the doctors I work with, and I adore him and his wife. And anyway, anyway, the bottom line is like he's like, you're really like a guy. And I go, maybe so, but I think that's why. So when I was in college, we were going away. It was our senior year, and there was a trip for the Bahamas. And all the girls were going, and I don't know, they may have asked me. In fact, I think they did. There were 8 girls and 8 guys, and I think there's a group of girls. And it was funny because I had 2 roommates. Not my senior, this is my junior year. And the girls got mad at me often because I wouldn't hang with them and I wouldn't follow the guys around. I did my own thing. Again, I did my own thing. I would met up with people and hung out with them. And I wound up going, they were going on a trip, 8 girls, 8 guys to the Bahamas. It was like $200 for the whole trip. You can
Oh my
imagine what
God.
it stayed. It was ridiculously cheap.
Wow, those were the times.
So anyway, the girls were planning, the guys were planning, and something fell through. One of the guys backed out. So the guys that I was friendly with as well had asked me to join them. So it was literally one room with bunk beds, 8 girls in one room, 8 guys in another, but it turned out being 7 guys and one girl right here. So I stayed with the guys and I didn't stay with the girls. And I was friendly with the girls enough. I didn't hang with them. I'm in the Bahamas, meeting new people, taking booze cruises and meeting new people. And I hung with the guys, but mostly with these new people that I met and
That's
not the
funny.
girls. So I always had just this thing where I can't do caddy. I cannot do caddy. And I
Yeah,
think ultimately girls, and when you really peel it back, a lot of girls can be like I am or like you are, like we're
sure.
very matter of fact. But I found that that was one of my biggest things. I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't be friends with girls like that. And I don't think that's good, so that's why I threw it in the no judge zone. But that's just how I was.
I,
I
I
just
mean,
couldn't do it. Couldn't do it.
but now you have,
Now I have friends. Now I have girlfriends. I think as we grow and mature, we back off a lot of that catty stuff. Or maybe I've learned to differentiate between women that are more like me or not catty. Remember the illuminators versus the diminishers.
right.
That may be the difference. And therefore I do have girlfriends because these women lift me up as I would lift them up. And they're not catty and they're not, I don't have to run to the bathroom with a girl. I don't have to, that. And so maybe I did find my place and
Hmm.
therefore found women and friends in my life that are similar to me. But as in high school with the small pool that you had, I went to an all girls Catholic high school and there
Same.
were just only that pool to pull from. And maybe that I just didn't relate to many of them. So it's
That's,
kind of
that's,
interesting. It took me years to get there. So I never had girls as friends. I had a few, but I didn't prefer them. I preferred
hmm,
boys. And yet I wasn't out playing football. I did play football,
right.
but I mean, the bottom line was I just did not enjoy girls as friends because I couldn't relate to most of them. So it's
That's
interesting.
interesting. I think we might have touched on that before, but I don't know if we ever talked in that
Yeah,
detail.
yeah,
I'm
we did.
exactly the opposite, where I always had girlfriends, girlfriends, girlfriends. I was more boy crazy when I was younger, whereas my girls are not at all.
Uh-huh.
I'm like, what? Why are you not dating? Um,
Different times.
Different times, but the older I've gotten, the more I have my close girlfriends.
Mm-hmm.
But I actually spend a lot more time with men and enjoy their
That's
company
funny.
more.
Right? Isn't that
Which
funny?
is funny.
Isn't
It is
that
funny.
funny? It's
I don't know
funny.
why men don't engage with me with politics and the sports but I do have girls like
Yeah,
well,
I
we're
think
gonna
it's neat.
save the sports stuff for another one, but I
Let's
love
do that. Well, that's
talking sports with men.
we'll dig into that. And I think a few episodes down the road too, I really think that we're going to peel back some of the women lifting women. And I think one of the topics I'd love to do is spotlighting a mentor, a very important mentor in my life or your life, and maybe we'll get them on our show and maybe we'll get to interview them too. I have someone in mind. I have several people. I have several
Okay.
people now that are
No,
a little
that's
bit older than myself or than us that I find have a lot to offer, and they'll be great guests on our show. So that'll be something down the road. But I know something we wanted to talk about was women watching sports, women in sports, women in sports. So we'll look at that our next
Hey, and I
episode.
have some guests who definitely want to talk about
Love it.
those topics. So I would love
Love
to hear
it.
what somebody else has to say.
I
And
love
I'd
it.
love to revisit this episode down the road in a year and see where we are, especially since we're paying really close attention to it.
Yeah.
And I'd like to interview some more women. Um,
Perfect. I think
yeah,
that's great. I think it's good.
for the
Let's bring them all
continuation.
on. Let's lift them up.
Great.
Let's lift each other up, lady.
That sounds like a lovely plan.
And I think and that sounds like a lovely place to say goodnight. I think we did great. I think we covered up. I think we looked at the positive side. We've decided we want illuminators in our life, not diminishers. Peace to women. I love you guys.
And
Love
and and
you.
what friends are we going to grow old with?
Yeah,
So those other women
good.
didn't work out, but it was okay because you were
But it's
always
okay.
there.
We all grow. Yes, and so were you. It's been 27 fun years. And let's
It
27.
has
Cheers to
been.
27 more.
Yeah, wait, cheers. One of these days we're going to bring
Cheers.
the wine and do the cheers
Ooh,
with the
I had wine
wine.
last episode, but we'll do it. I have to
Oh,
do
all
it.
right. Maybe I'll do
Cheers.
wine next.
Mhm.
My tea's kind of cold.
Mine's so cold.
Mm,
Listen, it's been a lot of
that's
fun.
not good.
Once again, I've had a lot of fun chit-chatting with you. And
Okay.
until next time, I'm Nancy Smith,
I'm Danny Ingves.
and this is Just Our Take.
Have a great night.